Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast, as always, hosted by me, Chris. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 235. Two away from 237. That's pretty cool. I got a special surprise episode coming at you this week because it's my show and I can do whatever I want. And if I want to give you guys more content, I will do so. And I really love today's guest. Lovely chatting. But before I get into who the guest is, even though you probably already know, if you'd like to keep up with me on the social networking platforms, my Twitter and Instagram is both at Casting for Two. And send me an email if you would like, castingfor2@gmail.com. Yeah, so I'm pretty much at Casting for Two, so for everything. That's probably the best way to find me, to be honest with you. I check those periodically. And, of course, Sunday Brunch, the podcast that I also host with the beautiful, lovely, and talented Megan Johnson from tipsywriter.com. That's over at sundaybrunchpod.com, and it's available on all the podcast platforms you use for this show. So yeah, so go do that one as well. My guest for today is a very wonderful actress, and she is on the show, the SyFy network show Happy with Christopher Maloney. I call him Malone Dog, Post Malone. Carly Sullivan, and it was, oh man, is such a great chat. Such a wonderful person to talk to, and I'm though they're having their season finale tomorrow. That's why I wanted to get this episode out today. So everybody go watch that and listen to this episode. So sit back, relax, and Chris, cue the music, please. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Great. We've done it then.
We did it. We made it happen. I've been a little worried. My headphones are acting up, but we're gonna give it a go.
Gotcha. Okay. You know, if you just hear long pauses, just start laughing, and then we'll be like, okay.
Okay. All right. I'll make that happen. No problem.
So, okay, which is a good segue into, so I do interviews and I interview people.
Right.
And you get interviewed and stuff like that. What do you do when you don't want to answer a question?
Oh, man. What do I do? You know, I'll be really honest. I'm going to be honest with you the whole time.
Okay.
I will answer most questions. If there's one that I really don't want to answer, I will just, in a roundabout way, not answer it.
Okay.
If that makes sense. I'll kind of address it, but then I'll move on.
Gotcha. Yeah, because there have to be those questions that are just a little too personal, or maybe you've been doing interviews all day and it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I love talking to people, so I'm the one person who doesn't do the, oh God, not this question again. You know,
Okay.
Because seriously, every time I get asked, say it's the same question, I kind of find a new way to either answer it or something else comes up and I'm like, oh yeah, I also feel this way about that. So I'm open to anything. I'm game.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested in people's sleep patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, what's a good amount of sleep that you need?
Oh my gosh. Great. I'm also very interested in sleep patterns because sleep is one of my favorite things in the world. I'm not kidding you. I need a lot of sleep.
Okay.
I mean, I need my number is 9. If I get 9, I am golden. 8, I could function, but truly anything less than 8, I just am not on the planet. I'm
Okay.
kind of moseying around in a haze. I'm not in a bad mood. I'm just kind of not present. But on the flip side, if I get more than 9 or 10, same thing. So there's that golden area, 9 or 10.
Gotcha.
It's a lot, right?
That's. I mean, look, everybody is different for sure, but I once one of my friends back in the day, she was just, I need 12 hours of sleep, and I'm like, well, that's half the day.
What?
Yeah, it's like what does that mean?
12 hours. What is she doing when she's awake that requires her to sleep that much? That's my question.
Yeah, exactly. And we, I can't speak because we were coworkers, and it's like, well, I mean, we're just doing this, but I don't get that much. I feel like I inherited my dad's sleep pattern because he goes to bed early but wakes up super early, but he functions at around maybe 6 to 7 hours.
Okay.
So I'm in that area now. Like same as you, if I get 6 hours or less, I'll be okay.
Right.
If I get more than 6 hours, that's when I'm just like, I don't feel like doing anything today.
Yeah, it's that weird thing where you think more is better, but sometimes less is more with sleep.
Right.
However, I lived in New York for 10 years, and most people in New York function on like 4 to 5, and I'm just like, wait, what planet are you from? Like, how do you? I feel like that's a superpower.
Right.
Truly, I'm like 5 hours of sleep. I'm just dropping into my deep REM right then. I don't understand. I'm just hitting my deep sleep.
Has there ever been a time where you didn't get enough? Well, I mean, like, let's say less than 6 hours of sleep, and then had to do a project, acting, anything like that.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
And
yeah.
how did that go?
It's funny. So when I'm so militant about sleep that when I get under 8, I wake up with panic. I'm like, oh shit. I got 7. It's going down. And, my last day of work on Happy actually was a really long day. We had some reshoots for episode 6, and then my big final scene on episode 7, which airs this Wednesday, and you have to check it out because it's going to be crazy. But I remember I was so anxious that night. I think I maybe got 4 or 5. And I was like, no way. Like, this is the one day I really need my 9. But I was just like, okay, Carly, it's cool. You can do this. And I rolled into work. I think I had like a 7 a.m. call time. We go into the reshoots. I'm doing it. I'm fine. And then we break for lunch, which technically was at 7 o'clock that night.
Okay.
Because they break for lunch after X amount of hours on set. It's a union thing.
Right.
So we go for lunch, and I am exhausted. And I am like, we haven't even started my big final scene with Chris Maloney, and I need to bring it. So I went back to my trailer. I literally lit some Palo Santo and whatever else I had in there. I took a nap, and I was like, all right, like, I am exhausted, but that's cool because now I have no care in the world. I'm just going to be free. Like, when I'm tired, I let myself play more, and I'm less judgmental of my work. And I actually think it's better, to be honest.
Okay.
Because when I'm fully awake, I am so critical of myself.
Right.
I don't know about you, but I'll be like, what the hell did you just do, Carly? That was terrible, And when I'm tired, I'm like, well, that was great. Next.
Right. It's almost like the filter is gone when you're sleepy, and I totally get that.
Yeah, exactly. So you relate.
Yeah.
You relate.
And it's weird because when it comes to sleep, I'll set my alarm clock when I need to be somewhere, but my body, like I'll set it for 8 o'clock. I will wake up at 7 o'clock in fear of missing my alarm clock.
Completely.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Or my cats will wake me up. I have 2 cats, and they're clawing at me at 6:37. Like, you need to wake up because we're hungry.
Right.
And we're tired. We're bored of you sleeping. You need to be up. Time to get up.
It's like, you're cats. You do your own thing, remember? No.
Yeah, right. That's why I got you, not a dog. Okay? Let's be clear.
So what was it that when we're gonna go back all the way to the beginning for you?
Oh, sure. Okay.
What was it that was like, you know what, acting is something I want to pursue?
I will not sit here and tell you that that was it for me when I was younger.
Yeah.
It was ballet.
Okay.
I grew up, I started dancing when I was 3. I fell in love with ballet, and that was my life. Like, it was an all-encompassing thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm going to be a ballerina. That's what I'm going to do. And then I injured myself when I was 17. I tore cartilage in my hip.
Oh.
And it was not only incredibly painful, but it was that moment where it's like, I'm 17. I'm not going to have open hip surgery. Like, I think I have to retire.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. And it was really heartbreaking for me because, that energy, that artistic spirit doesn't really die,
Right.
and I was a teen, so I was like, all right, it's cool. I can, I'll focus on school and like other hobbies. And I remember going to college and I was undecided for 2 years. And I was like, I guess I'll be a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandfather was a lawyer.
Okay.
And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, he was a lawyer and I did very well in school. I'm a nerd and I loved it. So I thought, all right, great. But that thing just never kind of quieted. The voice of like, you're a performer, you're an artist. It never went away.
Right.
And I remember thinking, okay, well, maybe I'll be an agent. And I actually had an internship at IMG Models in New York. And I worked with agents, and I was like, okay, no, this is not what I'm going to do. I was like, this is a really cool experience. I'm around male models and they're really handsome and this
Right.
is really fun, but no, because I realized that I wasn't being true to myself. I was trying to be in the field without doing what I actually wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had my come to Jesus moment when I graduated college, and I just said, I'm going to go to New York. I'm going to study theater at a conservatory. And because I had also done theater all throughout my life.
Mm.
I had done theater in high school. I did it when I was younger. So I had been doing it. I just never thought it was what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, just channel your creative spirit in another art form that you love. Done. And so that's kind of the path. It was not, oh, I woke up and I knew I was going to be an actor. I just know that I'm an artist. And so for me, it's like, I love all art forms. But yeah, and I also think too, my mother fell ill in high school. And when she fell ill, I really just realized at a young age, I was like, you need to do what you want to do because there's no guarantees in life.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it really woke me up at a young age where I was like, excuse my language, there's no fucking around.
Right.
So it was a blessing for me because it kind of pushed me to have courage and be brave and take a risk.
And then the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Now I have a couple questions. I mean, about ballerina dancing.
Yeah.
Are you, I know you said you stopped doing it, but are you when you were able to do it, were you able to transition that into any other kind of dancing, or is ballerina dancing very specific?
It is very specific. However, any dancer will tell you that ballet is the foundation of all dance. Mm-hmm. So if you can dance ballet, you can pretty much do anything. Mm-hmm. Outside of, I can't tap for my life. Do not give me tap shoes. I was like, what is this all about? My body refused. It was like, nope, you can't tap. But yeah, you can do jazz, you can do lyrical, hip hop. You just, every form of dance has its own sort of feel and steps. Mm-hmm. But if you can do ballet, you can pretty much do anything else, which is really cool.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was the master gateway dance.
Oh, it is the master gateway. Yes, that is a great way to. That's a great way to define it. It is the gateway to all dance forms.
Okay.
So yeah, check out your nearest ballet class if you're looking to learn how to dance.
I'm
That's
signing up right now. Hang on.
oh,
I'm going
you bet.
silent. Uh,
Amazing. I'm glad I moved you into it.
well, and then the other thing I wanted to say, when I was a kid, I always get picked for jury duty, and
Oh, sweet.
yeah, and I people are always like, meh, I like going to jury duty. I think it's very fascinating.
Me too. FYI.
Yeah, exactly. And as a person who's becoming a lawyer, the best part is one of the big cases that I was on that lasted for 3 days. The lawyer on it was just so, just I felt like he was putting on a performance. He was very energizing and just like hands going in the air. And I was just
Yeah.
sitting there. I was like, lawyers would make the best actors.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch any good episode of Dateline on NBC,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like, these lawyers are bringing it, okay?
Right.
Like, right? It's like they're really riveting. They're stirring the pot. I'm like, damn. Yeah, you're right. I actually think their performances are what intrigued me about law.
Right,
I was like, I
and
need
they
to-
have to convince you of something, whether
Correct.
they have to convince you what is the truth, which is, I think that's basically what an actor does. So
Yeah, you know what? That is a great observation.
thank you.
Yeah.
This is Observation
I'm
Cast with
clapping.
Chris.
I am clapping. I don't know if you could hear it.
Oh,
But
I hear
good
it.
job.
Yes. But yeah, no. It's so like when you saying you wanted to be a lawyer and then transitioning to acting, it's like, of course.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I think yeah, completely. You're so right. There is definitely a performance element to being a lawyer. And for me, it's also interesting, like being a lawyer and being an actor, it is about finding the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a theme in my life. I'm like, what is the truth? And sometimes I don't, the truth isn't what you want to hear, but I'm always in search of it. And that's like a very important thing for me in my own personal life and also as an artist.
And so when you're getting into a character's headspace, what is your process of that?
Oh, I trained in what's called the Meisner technique.
Yes.
It's not method based. I'm not taking my own personal life and using it or bringing skeletons out of the closet. But I will say, so for the role in the show Happy for Gala,
Mm-hmm.
when I read, you get a breakdown and it will give you the character description, who this person is, perhaps like what they look like, their age range, and personality a little bit. But it's your job to kind of fill in the dots, right? And so for Gala, it was like 40s, okay, trophy wife, sassy, things where I'm like, okay, I'm not in my 40s, I am not a trophy wife, so I'm like, I cannot relate to this woman. However, what I do is I first off try to understand the character, and it's hard. Often the sides are only a few pages, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, I don't really know who this woman is at all. But I also use, to be honest, people in my life that I've met, that there's parts of their personality that remind me of a character. And also, too, for this role, I did use part of my personal life. I had just gone through a breakup, and I could tell that Gala was in a very unhealthy marriage, an abusive marriage, if you will, emotionally abusive. And I had just gone through an emotionally abusive relationship. And so I was like, okay, I do know this woman. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm not a trophy wife, but I understand her. So in some cases, I do draw upon my own life. And then in others, I am completely just using my creativity and understanding of the character and their circumstance to fill in the blanks. And listen, sometimes it's completely off. I might go into an audition with an idea and it's like so not the character, but
Right.
that's okay. Like I've learned to give myself permission with that, you know, because I don't have all the answers, but as long as I'm making strong choices, then I'm happy, you
Yeah.
know, and that's the fun part.
Yeah, and it's always funny just because I love finding out how people get into character because people becoming something else is very interesting. The method
Oh yeah.
actors, I understand that they have to go method and that's fine, but at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's like, well, there's a camera right in your face. Like, how do you
Oh yeah.
how can you continue to be method with a gaffer eating a donut right behind you? It's just like really, come on.
Right. Yeah. It's true. And when you get to set, you're right. There's a lot going on. There are, 50 to 100 crew members around you.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I don't know about other actors, I tend to, this sounds really strange.
Mm-hmm.
The first couple takes, I am super aware, super anxious, like, oh my God, okay, there's a lot of people here and
Right.
there's 200 extras. But then I'd say, a couple takes in, I kind of black out.
Yeah.
And like truly, it's funny watching Happy. I'm like, I don't know what I did. Like
Yeah.
I just I think you kind of go to a different space.
Mm.
You're like, wait, there was a camera at that angle? I don't freaking remember that. It's just like, I think you do it because it's the only way for me, at least, to be authentic. Otherwise, you get so in your head.
Right.
And there's the pressure. So I think you just kind of start to pretend it's not there and you just go into your very imaginative, creative space and like have fun and play, and hopefully that's where the performance comes out and people are like, oh, wow, this person is not acting. They are really just living this out truthfully.
Well,
Yeah.
that's all you can do.
Yeah. Or at least go for that. Right.
Exactly. Do you have any bad audition stories?
Oh, please. How much time do you have? I
I
mean,
only have
honestly.
6 hours. Okay, I need to go to sleep
Okay.
soon. No.
Oh, okay. Back to sleep. You got to get back to your 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Man, I have so many. I will not sit here and try to pretend that, I've nailed everything I've done in my life. I have not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is one of the reasons why I've been in this industry now for a decade, and it's taken me a decade to get to where I am. Because I failed a lot
Right.
and I made a lot of mistakes, especially in the beginning. I got out of school, I was 24. And I remember I had a teacher and she was like, if you're a woman in her 20s and you're not on a show, you're doing something wrong. And I was like, oh shit. Well, wait, I'm not on Gossip Girl. Like
Oh no.
what am I doing here? And it took me a while, to realize. So for me, most of my work is in comedy. That's kind of where I shine and it's what comes natural.
Mm-hmm.
But B, I had to really get my nerves under control. I suffer from anxiety, general anxiety disorder. And you would think as a performer, well, why the hell would you want to perform if you have anxiety? But it's kind of the space where I can let everything go. But I remember I had a huge audition at ABC. It was for when Charlie's Angels. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
They did a reboot.
Right.
And I was like, it was literally maybe my second or third audition ever.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so I already did not know what I was doing, but it was, oh God, it was one of those experiences where I think after the casting director, who was so lovely, you could just tell that she was like, oh my God, this girl is so green. Like, what did she just do? Because I think, the scene required some action and I just, oh God, I just was a mess. I was so awkward. And I remember thinking, I don't think I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe I'm not talented. I can't do this. But I just kept going. I was like, okay, it's going to take you time. And even so, like, I've had auditions with, you go into a producer session with a director, and sometimes the energy in the room's a little weird, and I really feed off of that, and I'll blank out on lines. Like, I will full on forget, and and it happened once in a producer session, and I just started to improv. Okay. I was like, well, the lines are gone, so you're going to get my lines. And they're just coming to me as we go.
There we go. Yeah.
So yeah, listen, it's happened so many times. But, I use that as a way to say, okay, you're going to work harder. You're going to overcome your anxiety, and you're going to get this figured out. And honestly, in the last few years now, luckily that doesn't happen. Luckily, I think I've kind of come to a peaceful place with it, and I don't take auditioning that serious anymore. I'm like, I'm either right for this role or I'm not, but I'm going to go into that room and I'm going to kick some ass.
There we go. There we go.
Hell yeah. Hell
yeah. So for people at home who can follow you online and, watch the things that you do, where can they do that?
Yeah. They can do that you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at the official Carly Sullivan. I just changed my name. My publicists were like, you need to change your name because it was the first 3 letters of my cat's names, and they were like, that doesn't work. I was like, okay.
Okay, fine. I'll change my name to my cat's names, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So you can follow me on that. I'm also on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter. But you can also tune in to Happy on the SyFy network. This week on Wednesday is probably the craziest episode of TV you'll see all year, I'm thinking. Just throwing it out there. It's wild. So yeah, you can catch that on the SyFy network or also on demand.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Carly, for chatting with me. You're an absolute blast. Let me just say that.
Oh, you are too. I feel like I could talk to you for the 6 spare hours you have, but I know you've got other things to do, so I'll let you go, but it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, and anytime you want to come back, just say the word, all right?
Oh, you're so sweet. That means a lot. All right, I hope you have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.